teaching, which at first we were just going to deal with a few things, but you have this Henry Stephenson and Stephen Ozan and Javier. They decided to make some stupid stuff, but what the problem is this: is we sitting there, and I made them a vow that I'm gonna continue until we shut the doors. And right now, I have set them on another larger platform, because what's going to happen later, they're going to see where it's going to start pulling in a lot more numbers when they start looking at this again. So they should get about 15, maybe go up to 20,000 or better in number, based on how we setting this up. However, the problem with this is they continually, and what they have continued to do, they will attack the person and not the doctrine. But they like to sit there thinking they're attacking the doctrine, but they're attacking the person. But that shows you the stupidity and the ignorance that people like this have. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through a few things which they've made some statements about, and we're going to give them some understanding. And as we go through it, people are going to get a very good understanding on a lot of stuff. Because if you see right there on the screen, we have it where it says exactly what I'm going to be doing, to where we're going to be exposing the false teachings that they have continually said, and you're going to see it out their own mouth. They have continually said that the Apocrypha. They're going to tell you about the book of Tobit. They're going to tell you about the book of Maccabees. They said about the book of Judith. So as they sitting there, they're talking about how these books is false. But we're going to see some things that are going to be highly interesting. And then they also spoke about that Paul only came to Christians. That's what I was going to actually deal with. But we're going to deal with that also. And they went on and they talking about Canon. That's what Stephenson constantly talking Canon. What's Canon? Not really clearly understanding what he's saying there. Because when you talk about Canon, these books is Canon because this is what men feel should be in the Bible and what shouldn't be in the Bible. But we're going to find out some interesting things there also. We're going to get more into, we're going to find out what this and why they was removed, but then also what he did, which was, I'm talking about totally crazy, which I have to show it to you, because if not, you won't believe it yourself. But then I got to show you what is in Hebraist. What do Master Hebraist mean? The only reason I laugh, because I'm thinking about even what he said, and you can't believe it because he even made some statements about Paul. And he said Paul was a Hebraist. And I thought it's comical. It's literally comical. Because Paul was not a Hebraist, but we're going to find out what these things are. And then we're going to find out about the Strong's Concordance and the author of the Concordance also. So these things we're going to find out what's going on. We're going to see how this all works out. And what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead, we're just going to start up. That's the easiest way to do it. The easiest way to do it is just to start up and to let you see some of what's coming out of their mouth. And before I get into it and I start ripping apart this doctrine that they devised up, that they truly believe that they have the right doctrine. So let's start off and let's pull some information that they speak about.
You guys spend more time studying the Apocrypha. I believe it. That they really don't know this. Don't know about it. Don't know about it. The devil has deluded their minds to give them, hey, you study this. Yeah. And you keep your, now he can probably break down to you all the books and all the scriptures that are Apocrypha. Yeah. But when you come to this, he's going to discredit this book. Yeah. I guarantee you, at the end of the day, we talk to Michael Johnson, if he ever has the courage to want to just sit down and have a decent conversation, he will have to discredit this book. He will. Yeah. Because it will discredit everything in the Apocrypha. So he's got to make a decision. Yeah. Which sword is he going to use? Which sword does he believe going to get him to heaven? Exactly. The Apocrypha, which is uninspired, or the Bible, which is inspired. See, that's an issue there. And see, that's the problem. That's why I tell everybody whether it's slain or simple.
Well, you see what he said here. And as I said, we're going to be going through this, and we're going to be looking at different things and ask what went on and what's going to be happening. So he's sitting there saying, what sword are you going to use? So I want to make sure people clearly get a few things on some people who probably didn't see the teaching this past week. But I want to show you something, then we're going to go into another part to where we can get a better understanding. Because the Apocrypha, when you look at the Apocrypha as a whole, and you see this Apocrypha is part of the original King James Bible. It's part of the original King James Bible. But you have men who chose to take those out. We're going to find out later why. Because I'm just showing you here where you can see the original. This is a copy of the original King James Bible. And you see right there, that Apocrypha is right there. It's right there. But you have men who sat there and they took it out for special reasons. For special reasons, it was removed. And we're going to find those out. But the main part of it is where he spoke about things. He said things about other things. He spoke about me, but then he's sitting there and he brought up, the Apocrypha about, you'll see later, you'll see where he's talking about Yahushua or Jesus. We'll use Jesus so he'll know who we're talking about. And he'll say Jesus never quoted or spoke anything from the Bible. So I just said, okay, well, it's better if we can prove it. It's easier to prove it better than show it. But the reason why I say that is because I want to show you more so why you see even in their doctrine, they get into a gap theory. If anybody who been part of anything, if you ever went to a seminary or you go in many churches, they'll tell you from the Old Testament to the New Testament at a time that God did not speak for about 400 years. For about 400 years, he didn't speak because he was upset for whatever reason. So, what happened there, I want to show you in the Apocrypha. We're going to go to a second address. We're going to look at chapter 7. We're going to go down to verse 28. And we're going to see something that's special that is going to show you something special. It says, for my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they may remain, shall rejoice within 400 years. Now, you'll probably end up saying, well, he's talking about 200 years. And they are. But you see right here. So we know he's pulling his information either from the internet, which he'll sit there and try to say that's what we do, or he's pulling it from somewhere else. But watch what it says here. It says, and after these years shall my son Christ die, and all men that have life. You see what he's saying here. And this is basically telling you something that that Daniel actually spoke about. You'll see this in Daniel chapter 9 and 7. You'll see all this. It says, and the world shall be turned into silence 7 days, like comparing in former judgment and doctrines and teaching, that no man shall remain. That's what it's talking about. Now, we're going to see another part here where he said Jesus never quoted from the Bible. Never quoted from the Apocrypha. Never quoted. So we need to look at that. And this is mainly Stephen. This is Henry Stephen. This is Stephenson. This is the one mainly saying that. So we're going to look at 2nd Esdras chapter 1, verse 27. And we're going to go down to verse 30 to get the understanding of what he's talking about. So we got this one here. And it says this from Esdras. It says, I gather you together, comparing a hen gathered her chickens under her wings. But now what shall I do unto you? I will cast you out of my face. This is being said by Esdras, who 400 years before Jesus came on the scene. Keep that in mind. But he said, Jesus don't quote from here. So let's go over here to Luke chapter 13. And he did this more than many times, but everybody know I'm partial to Esdras, so that's why I'm using Esdras. In Luke chapter 13, we're going to look at verse 34. And we're going to see here, it says, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, which killeth the prophets and stoneth them that are sent unto thee, how often would I gather my chickens together, my children together, comparing as a hen doeth gather her brood under her wings, and ye would not. The same thing that's Idris just said. The same thing. But it's not done yet. It's not done yet. Let's look over here at Matthew chapter 23, verse 37. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, how thou killest the prophets and stonest them which sent unto thee, and often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not. Interesting, isn't it? Really interesting. This is why I say anytime somebody tells them something, they just believe it based on what somebody says, besides looking at it. And this is the problem that we have with them. But this is the issue within all things. See, now he made another statement on this. So we're gonna look at his other statement that he also made about saying I make up words and this and that. So we need to look at that because we talked about his name. And I want to show you that's where we above board on everything.
So who are the Hebrews?
Whoever he said.
Whoever he said.
They're going to be the servants.
He is the author of words. He believes he defines words and meanings.
Yes.
Like on the video, he said, "My name Henry means ruler of houses."
Yeah.
And he said, but not in a good way.
Yeah. So he's got something
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. So he defines, whether a name is good. If you want the answer, you have to come to him.
Yeah.
And so he's going to tell you meaning words. So Gentile means what I don't want to mean. Why? Well, because the Strong Concordance is wrong. I'm right. The Strong's is wrong.
You did
The Webster Dictionary is wrong. I'm going to tell you what words mean.
Yeah. So I guess he got his own dictionary. So what I'm looking at is he's less than 60 years old. So I'm looking at for the last all 1,000 years the earth has been in existence. We needed Michael Johnson to come and write a new dictionary and a new concordance. So did anybody go to heaven before that? I mean, is anybody going to go to heaven before that? Have they in paradise? Does anybody get saved before Michael Johnson rewrites everything? See, that's sad. Yeah.
You're going to be saved under this dispensation.
Yeah.
From 1950. When was he born? I don't know.
He looks like he's under 60. He can't be over 60. If he's even 50, he looks pretty young,
And I like to thank him for him. He said, I don't even look 50. I'm telling you, I'm 59, but I appreciate the compliment. It's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing, but I do appreciate the compliment. However, we got to keep moving forward on what we're doing. We got to keep moving forward on what we're doing. And what we want to do is make sure everything is going to continue what's going on. We got to continue on what's going on here. But what he's talking about, what his name meant. So what I need to do is also show you what's going on there with the name. With the name. So besides me, telling him what it is, and the same thing, like I told many people, I speak and read. I can read different dialects, which I can read, write Hebrew. I can read and write Greek. But the same thing here. So I want to show you something to which we're going to look at on here. So we looking here at names. And besides, we can't get to the name that we want him to, but I'm showing him here, even on the web, which he can actually go and look at. And he can still get this name. So it's over on the UK side, but he can still get the meaning of this name. That's the point on what we want him to see. That's the focus on what we want him to see here. So it got Henry. It's a gender, boy, its origins from German. But it's telling you what this actually means. It means home. Keep that in mind. And Rick. Well, the focus is home because that's why I got it in parentheses. That's why it's there. Home. but then it also meaning power ruler. So meaning is talking about home ruler. That's what he is. Same thing what I told him. Same thing what I said. It's right here. And he can go and look at it, but he can go look anywhere and he'll probably see the same thing. But this shows you where they have an issue when people tell them what's going on. They have a problem with this because he's unable to do what's going on here. So the same other thing is where he spoke about where they have a strong concordance.